Hey everyone, William Selway here, and welcome to Hiring Setters. Now, in this video, I am extremely excited to bring this one to you because it means that you are now at the point where you want to start scaling your DM Sorcery system. If you're watching this video, it means that you have found a winning system in the micro scale, running it for yourself across 2 to 3 accounts, and now you're in a position to start scaling. And I'm extremely excited to facilitate this scale with you. Now, Hiring Setters is by far one of the most leverageable and high ROI activities that you can put into your agency. And I truly believe that anyone running an agency, coaching business, or consulting business in 2024 and in 2025 who is hiring setters and building out a team of killers to book appointments for you on autopilot, you are going to win. Okay, I truly believe appointment setters are the future of appointment setting, just because of how easy they are to scale and how easy it is to manage, and the amount of appointments that you can book without doing anything yourself. You get the quantity and quality approach here because you get the quality of reaching out to prospects with customized entry videos, but also the quantity of being able to scale up setters to an infinite amount of numbers. Okay, effectively, you could have 30 appointment setters, all booking 5 appointments every single day for your business, and just have appointment after appointment with qualified leads coming into your inbox, primed and ready to book a call with you and buy your service. So the power in this is incredible, and I'm excited to bring it to you. So without further ado, here's what we are going to cover. We're going to start with quality setters, and we're going to show you exactly the kind of setters and some case studies of appointment setters that you should look for. Next, we're going to go over SOP configuration, and we're going to give you pretty much all of our SOPs that we use to hire setters, and effectively give you the template. So all you have to do is add your tracking sheets in, add your own specific templates, add your own specific onboarding resources, just edit them to fit your business and give it to the setters and let them effectively train themselves. Next, we're going to go over setter payouts, how to pay setters. Very simple. The hiring process, now a lot goes into the hiring process. There is 6 steps in order to hire a good setter, and we're going to break down exactly how all of them work. And finally, setter performance management, how to manage setters and how to scale the team. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So welcome to DM Sorcery Hiring Setters. This resource will help you hire setters for your inbound or outbound setting process. Now, key points before we get started: don't be lazy. Okay, you only want to hire setters when you are too busy with sales calls or service delivery to do it yourself. Effectively, once you have found a winning system in the micro scale and you are now at a point where you've got enough sales calls or too many clients on board to effectively spend the 2 to 3 hours a day it takes to run DM Sorcery, you should immediately hire appointment setters. Now, this is a double-edged sword, okay? You shouldn't stretch yourself too thin, but also at the same time, you shouldn't outsource it too early. Ideally, as a rule of thumb, once you have a winning system, hire setters immediately. Okay? If you have a winning system, you've got an ABI of at least 1 or 2%, and you are booking consistent appointments and consistently signing clients, just immediately hire setters because there's no downside to doing it. Worst case scenario, a setter comes on board, they don't book appointments, you don't pay them. Okay? And if you've been through this training, it's going to be quite a easy task to actually hire setters using this training. So there is literally no downside to it. Okay? Double-edged sword. Don't do it immediately, but at the same time, don't leave it too late because there is a point in which, as long as you've got a winning system, setters are going to make sense. And finally, don't be cheap. Okay? You want to hire quality talent and you want to pay well. Do not hire a $3 an hour VA. Do not hire a VA or anyone who isn't an appointment setter that we're going to outline for you in this module, essentially. There's no way to cut corners. You need to hire real appointment setters, and we'll show you how to do that. So first things first, quality setters. What makes a good appointment setter? Now, I've spent hours trying to boil this down into just as blatant terms for you to digest as possible. And the main 2 attributes are consistency and charisma. Remember this, the golden rule of hiring setters is you do not have to be talented to be an appointment setter. You don't have to be talented to set appointments, okay? I've brought on so many appointment setters at this point who have never set an appointment in their life. Because we have a process that works, it doesn't require a huge amount of skill or talent to run. The key determining factor as to whether or not they will succeed is simply down to their ability to follow instructions and do it every day. With appointment setting, input equals success, nothing else. Now, this is why it's very important to only hire setters when you've got a winning system. If you have a system that isn't booking you appointments and you outsource it, it's not going to book appointments when you outsource it either. You have to have a winning system that is within KPI in the micro scale before you even think about scaling with appointment setters and turning it into a macro system. Okay, remember that. For this reason, we want to base our hiring process around finding people who are consistent and disciplined in other areas of their life. It's very, very important. One of the key determining factors that will tell you whether or not a setter is going to perform is whether or not they can stay consistent in an area of their life. And what we like to do is ask them, hey, do you have any hobbies? Or do you have any examples that you can show me where you stay consistent? So for example, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit now, but this is very important to be covered right at the start. If a setter tells you, oh, I did boxing for a year, then I did Muay Thai for a year, then I did drop shipping for a year, and then I did, SMA for a little bit, but none of it worked and I couldn't stick to it, then you should run away as quick as possible. However, if you speak to an appointment setter and you find out that they have done boxing consistently for 12 years, that tells you that this person shows the core identity function that they can stay consistent to something in their personal life. And if they can stay consistent to something in their personal life, that will seep over naturally into appointment setting. Okay? So the attributes that we're really looking for here, they need to have stellar and fluent English, or at least English as a first language, because they need to be able to converse with clients and prospects. They need to be able to look good on camera, and they need to be able to transfer your offer and your message to prospects very easily, and they need to be able to understand it. Ideally, they need to be USA-based, UK-based, Canada-based, or Australian-based. Now, obviously, if you're Spanish and you work in a Spanish market, then it will make sense to hire a Spanish setter. Effectively, as a rule of thumb, what we found works best is USA, UK, Canada, and Australia. However, if you are working in a market that falls out of that, then it makes sense to hire in the market you're targeting. Next, they need a proven track record of consistency and discipline, and we will show you how to find that. Essentially, if they can stay consistent to something in their personal life, they will stay consistent to appointment setting. And finally, they need to have charisma, extroversion, and enthusiasm. Very important, because appointment setting with DM Sourcery is a transfer of emotion. You are transferring how excited you are about your offer to a potential prospect, and that is a key determining factor of making the system work well. So a good case study for a good setter. Personally, I'll tell you what I did. I like to hire agency owners around the 0 to 2K per month mark. This way they have a baseline understanding of the online space. Maybe they've watched a video from Iman, or maybe they've watched a video from Charlie. But they are still maybe at university. Maybe they still work a 9-to-5 job. And they have a desire to want to change their life. They understand the industry, they understand how appointment setting and SMA works and coaching and consulting works, but they have taken that leap. Effectively, they haven't taken that leap yet, is what I mean. They've got one foot in the door, they want to change their life, they understand how it works, but they haven't made that step yet. And you offering them appointment setting job will help facilitate either their agency they want to start, or the change they want to make in their life. So every single setter that I hired was a very new agency owner, and it got excellent results for me. Now, this worked for me, and I am pretty confident it will work for you as well. But there will be a process of testing with this process. Agency owners might not work the best for you. I'm telling you, they worked well for me, and it's a really good way to find good quality setters very easily. However, if you do try agency owners and they don't work for your niche, just go ahead and just base it off of the 4 above here. So that's what you should be looking for. Okay, they should be falling under these 4 things, and ideally, if you really want to get good success, agency owners between the 0 to 2K per month mark. Now, next, we need to build out the SOPs that we're going to use to facilitate hiring setters very easily. So in this section, we'll build out the pre-scripted SOP templates and we'll give them to you. All you have to do is fill them out and give them to an outbound appointment setter or whoever will be managing your DM source process. Now, these SOPs are used for general outbound message management. Each individual platform will have its own nuances that need to be accounted for. This was explained in the platforms module. If you haven't watched that, please go back. But I'm assuming everyone who's watching and wanting to hire setters has already found out the individual nuances for each platform you're going to be running. Just make sure when you add these to the SOPs that you are covering specific nuances. For example, on Twitter, the lead sourcing is a bit different. Make sure it's explained in the SOPs. So first things first, payouts. And here we have our EasyGrow setter payouts SOP. Okay, so we have a full document here that you will give to your appointment setters that will effectively show them how to track the appointments they're booking and how to get paid. Before we go into this, I'm going to cover how payments work. So what we do is we pay setters $40 per booked appointment for both inbound and outbound. Now it's up to you to decide what you want to pay. I recommend, as a rule of thumb, doing no less than $40 per booked appointment, because there needs to be incentive there. They need to understand that if they book 10 appointments, they're going to make $400. And if they book you 10 appointments and you give them $400, one of them will convert. You will make 1 to 2K from that one appointment and your money will be back immediately. Okay. On top of this, we do not pay setters a percentage of closed deals. Setters are not responsible for the sale. And I do not like putting any of the income of one team member in the hands of another team member. Setters need to be incentivized to perform in their own job. They do not and they should not rely on the sales ability of another. It doesn't make sense to incentivize setters to only be paid if a sales rep performs, because it's not their job. Their job is to book an appointment and they should be compensated for that and that only. So when you're hiring setters, you only pay them per appointment they book, and ideally per qualified appointment they book. If you're also paying per appointment, you do not pay a base salary. They do not need a base salary. They just need to be compensated for the actual appointment they book. There needs to be clear incentive, and incentive will allow them to manage themselves. $40 minimum per appointment to keep it simple. Obviously, the more you pay, the better. If you know that if you sign a client, you're going to make 10K, then you can afford to pay $100 to $200 per appointment. And I promise you, the more you pay them, the more they will be incentivized to work and stay with you for the long term. Remember that. So let's go through the EasyGrow setters payout here, okay? So effectively, you will give this to setters as part of the SOPs when onboarding them, okay? And this document is made to explain to setters how it works. Effectively, it just breaks it down. It says to them, this is a commission tracker to log a commission for booked calls. You tell them it's paid on the 2nd of every month or whatever day you want to pay them. And you say your dollars per call amount will have been negotiated prior to you coming on board. Edit this to fit what you're going to be paying them essentially. And you need to, this pretty much outlines that it's in their, you know, it's their job to track everything and it's their job to bring it to you to get verified and get paid out on, okay? So in here, the main thing you're going to be looking for here is the EasyGrow setter payouts tracker, okay? Now, your setter will be using this to track all of the appointments they book, okay? So what they need is every time they book an appointment, they will put the prospect name, the email of the booking, the channel it was booked on, the date it was booked, and the money that they are going to be paid out for this. Now, if you want to edit the amount you're paying per appointment, just go ahead and click on this, click the edit button and change it to fit your whatever you're going to be paying them. So for example, $40, that's what we recommend. But if you're going to be paying them 100, put 100 in here, done, apply to all, and then for every single appointment, it will be $100 essentially, okay? Now, obviously, the very simple stuff here, they have to put in their name here, the month here, the year, and then at the end of every single month, they'll put a invoice on here and get paid for the bookings, okay? And they track this month by month for all the appointments that they book. Now, you should be checking this every day to see how many appointments they're booking, as well as checking their metrics, but this will be explained later in the videos. Cool. Now this setter SOP also breaks down exactly what they should be doing, so the steps they should take. Effectively just give this to your setter and they will know how to track their appointments. They'll tell them to receive the booking, open up the setter payout tracker, fill in the sheet with the new info. Pretty simple. Okay, cool. So that's the SOP for payouts. Now below it will show them how to attach invoices. Effectively, I'm not going to cover all of this, just give this to the setter and it's pretty straightforward. It'll show them how to attach invoices and how to track everything and keep everything organized, because SOPs are so important for running a setting team. You need to know exactly how many appointments they're booking and allow them to get paid effectively. And if you just give them this document, it will explain all. Next, appointment booking. Okay, so below is a model SOP for DM Sorcery setting. Okay, you will need to make a copy of this for yourself and embed your own resources into it. So you need to add your own spreadsheets, your own videos, copy, materials, etc. But effectively, this will act as a SOP hub to give to every single setter. So what you need to do here is effectively, you can leave these because we're going to link the training they need to watch, and there's 4 videos they need to watch, every single setter who comes on board. They need to watch Outbound Tenants because they need to understand the methodology behind tracking and booking appointments. They need to watch DM Sorcery conversion system. They need to understand exactly how DM Sorcery works, how to configure stimuli, and how to track metrics. These are very important. Your setter should watch all of these videos, and the school videos have been linked here. Okay, you will need to give your school login to your appointment setter, okay, so they can go through this. Now here we also tell setters to watch the video training at least twice. We found that the more they watch training, the better results they will get. Okay, so we tell them watch all videos at least twice, as it will help you understand the core parts of the system you will be running. Okay, so this is the training part here. You'll give this to every single setter and they will know exactly how to train them up, essentially. Next, the resources. Okay, so this is where you will replace these specific resources with the ones that you created earlier in this module. First things first, the DM Sorcery Stimuli Hub. You should have already created this in the stimuli configuration video. Essentially, you will give them Google Doc links to the Trojan Horse permission message you use, the follow-ups, the VSLs, everything, and link it all in here so they have access to all the SOPs and stimuli that they need to run the system. So at this point, they'll know exactly how DM Sorcery works, and they will have a overview of all the stimuli that you use. Okay, so edit this in and replace this with your Stimuli Hub. Next, the metric and prospect tracking sheets. Go ahead and replace this with yours. Obviously, this is just the template, but for you running DM Sorcery, you have to give them the templates for the systems that you're going to be running. Add your own in here. If they're going to be running like 3 different accounts or 3 different platforms, you will give them 3 different accounts for every single platform. Just put it in a list for all the tracking sheets that they need here, essentially. And finally, the payouts SOP. We've just covered this. Make this and edit this for your own agency and attach the setter SOP in here, okay? So effectively, you replace all of this with your internal SOPs that you would have created. And when a setter comes on board, you will just give them this document. It will show them exactly how to run DM Sorcery, all the stimuli they need, all the tracking sheets, and how to get paid. You'll give them this. They'll go through it and all of the information that they need. This document here pretty much lets them onboard themselves, so you're not spending loads of time teaching them stuff, okay? Cool. Now let's get into the juicy stuff. This is the hiring process. So first things first, step 1, we need to find candidates. And there's 2 different methods we can use here. The first thing you should do is actually look at your social circle, people you know, perhaps people in your network or mutual friends, okay? What we've noticed is that hiring setters that you know personally, maybe a friend or family member, just seems to always work the best. And it allows us to pretty much skip the entire hiring process. Because you know these people, you know that your friends, you know your family members, you know if they're going to be good or not. Provided they can be consistent and charismatic, then they're going to be a good fit for you. And also because they're your friend, they're going to be incentivized to actually perform. If they don't perform, it's going to jeopardize the friendship. And we found it works just extremely well. To give you some context here, me and Charlie have been friends for around 10 years. I met him in college and we were good friends for a long time. I got in contact with Charlie after I finished university because I understood that he was running a business, and I just approached him saying, look, how do I start a business? Because I want to, I was in a marketing job and I was like, I don't want to do this marketing job anymore, help me out. And he didn't give me an appointment setting job straight away. He just helped me start my own agency. And I started my own agency. I ran it for close to a year. And then I reached out to him and said, look, man, I'm running this agency. It's going well, but I want to earn some extra money so that I can actually keep money in the business. And he gave me an appointment setting job. And then the rest is history. Immediately I had, I didn't want to fuck up, essentially, because I didn't want to lose Charlie as a friend, and I had an incentive directly there to perform. As you can see, I'm now the head of product in EasyGrow. I ran my own setting team in Imperium, and I've made him a lot of money, and we have such a good friendship. We've got so much closer as friends, and I now count Charlie as one of my closest friends. all because I came on board as an appointment setter and just worked my bloody ass off to perform and make him proud, essentially. So you should ask yourself, who could you see making a good appointment setter? Who do you know who has charisma? Ideally, it needs to be someone young, around the same age as you. Maybe they're in university, maybe they're a college student, maybe they have told you they want to run a business, but they don't know how to start. This appointment setting job is going to be a great way to get them started. So first things first, look at your circle. This is the first thing you should do. After that, if you don't identify anyone in your local circle, or maybe you've hired a few appointment setters in your circle and you want to start outsourcing the hiring process to other people to find outside talent, you should do this using groups and social media. So on Skool and Facebook, you can search for groups. A really good place to find talent is to search for the following groups on Skool and Facebook. Look for marketing agency, SMMA, make money online, quit 9 to 5, or alternatively, if you work, for example, in the dating niche, look for dating groups. Look for other people targeting your niche who are running an agency and maybe they want to get started, okay? You want to join these groups and effectively help them out from here. Now, there are hundreds of groups, school groups and Facebook groups online with very young and extremely ambitious people looking to find a way to make money online remotely. I'd honestly recommend joining 15 to maybe 20 of these groups and using these as a pool to source high quality setter candidates. Okay, so once you've identified where you can actually find your candidates, next we have to get them to apply, which is step 2, applications. You have 2 options available when it comes to getting them to apply. You can do outbound messaging, where you effectively cherry pick good fits that you've judged based off of their profile, based on what you know is a good setter for you, and then messaging them. Or alternatively, you can do an inbound job post. Now, both of these options have pros and cons, and I'm going to run through both of them now. So for outbound messaging, okay, this is actually my preference when it comes to hiring good quality setters. And it involves physically reaching out to good fits yourself. Now, obviously, you will have to have some understanding of what a good fit looks like. But, you know, essentially, this is something you can do after you've hired maybe 2 to 3 appointment setters and you have an idea of age, location, and, you know, information that is readily available on their profiles that you can say, look, this guy's probably going to be a good fit, let's reach out to him, okay? Now, this method is more time consuming, but it allows you to fine tune your process and effectively cherry pick good setters and remove a lot of the bad fits. This is what I do every single time and it's never failed me. Well, actually, no, I lie, it failed me once. But out of like 30 setters that I've hired, one bad fit doesn't make me think that this system doesn't work. What you need to do is simply reach out to potential good fits in Skool and Facebook groups with the following script. Hey name, I'm scaling my business and looking for a growth manager to set appointments using our socials. Potential to earn 1 to 5k per month, completely remote for a couple of hours a day. You're exactly what I'm looking for. Interested ? And essentially you would send this to 10 to 30 applicants every single day or every single week, cherry picking people, getting an idea for their interest levels, and then getting them to apply from there. Now, I prefer this approach because I identified that agency owners between the 0 to 2k per month mark were the perfect fit for what we do. So that's what I did. I reach out to people, every single person personally. Now, the benefit of doing this is it kind of removes all of the shit you will get coming in if you do an inbound job post, because if you do an inbound job post you will get a lot of bad fits, and if you're not very experienced with not knowing what a good setter looks like, then you could potentially hire someone who looks good on paper but is awful when it comes to actually practicality. Okay, so outbound messaging, this works really well. You effectively just start a conversation with someone and ask if they're interested in earning 1 to 5k per month online, completely remote, and this worked really well for me. The second method that we can use is an inbound job post. Okay, so obviously, before we get to this point, if you do message someone this and they are interested, you just skip straight to step 3 below and you get them to fill out an appointment setter form, okay? Next, we have the inbound job post, okay? So you can also have setters apply to you for positions. You can do this by posting a short description of the role into these communities or on your socials, and then wait for applicants to actually reach out to you. Now, full transparency, this method will result in a lot of very poor applicants. A lot of third world applicants, a lot of people who say they're good on paper but aren't good in actual practicality. So it's very important that you cut through the noise, focusing very closely on setters who show charisma and consistency. If they don't immediately show signs of the two, do not take their application any further. So what you want to do is, effectively, we've done this job for you here, is post the following thing into groups and on Facebook and on Skool and also to your social profiles. Okay, so it essentially looks like this. You will have to edit this to fit your niche, just like everything in this module. You will have to edit it, you will have to make it look better, remove the technicalities that we've mentioned and mention things specific for your niche. Okay, so essentially you'll join these groups and you'll post this. It's very simple. I'm not going to run through the whole thing. It's just we're hiring appointment setters who want to make a boatload of money and change lives in the process. We are growing, and if you join us now, you've got the opportunity to be on the ground floor of a hyper-growth company with a proven, incredible service and with people who are known for the great care we take with clients and employees alike. Then you'll go through the specifics of how this works. I'm not going to get into this. We've effectively allowed them to understand a little bit about the role and qualify themselves. And then we just give them, we tell them that it's pay per appointment, and then give them the option to actually sign up to you. Now, what this is primed to do is a call to action where they either comment me or DM you, and then you'll go straight to step 3 of the process. Now, you will get a lot of volume doing this. A lot of people will like the idea of this and want to sign up with you. And again, it's a double-edged sword. You will get a lot of volume, but you will get a lot of bad volume. So be careful here. Obviously, cut through the noise, look for consistency and charisma in the application process. But if you don't have an idea of what a good setter looks like and you just want to get 40 to 50 applicants coming in, use this template. It works really well. But, you know, once you have an idea of what a good setter case study looks like specifically for your business, then I would advise going for the outbound messaging method and cherry picking appointment setters based on what they look like, based on what you know works. Okay, so feel free to make a copy of this and go ahead and use this in groups on School and Facebook to find applicants. Quick note here, you might need to wait for the post to be approved, and a lot of Facebook posts and Facebook groups and school groups will delete your post because they don't want people prospecting in there, but you should be able to get away with it in some groups. Some aren't as heavily managed, so if you join 15 to 20 groups, at least 5 to 10 of them will allow you to post this. Okay, yeah. Next, step 3, screening the applicants. Okay, so now we've identified how to find a good setter. We've identified where to find a good setter. We now have to actually work through the applications we're going to get from our outbound efforts. Okay, so essentially you want to DM everyone who's commented on your post or has replied to your outbound messaging a simple introduction message just to confirm they're interested in the role. Okay, just say, hey, I see you're interested in this role. Very happy to hear from you. Can you please fill out this quick survey? And then we'll let you know if we're going to take you any further. Keep it simple, don't overthink it. So once you've gathered your applications, you want to create a Google form with the following titles and questions, all as required. So you want to make a Google form, just go to googleform.com and create a new one, and you want to title it Appointment Setter Form. The subtitle, we're hiring appointment setters. You want to actually make it look like that. First line of text, this is an opportunity to make thousands of dollars every month by working remotely for a few hours a day. And these are the main questions here, okay? So the main questions are, what's your name? How old are you? Please link your Facebook profile below. I understand you already have information to all of this, but it's important to get them to fill it out because how good they fill this out is directly correlates with how good they're going to be as an appointment setter. The more information they put, normally the better they're going to be as an applicant. You need their email address, what country they're based in, and then this is a very, 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 very important one. Can you give some real life examples of a time you have been consistent and disciplined to achieve something you want in your life? This is the most important question. Here, we are looking for an identification that they can stay consistent in another area of their life, normally a hobby or something that they've achieved. If they have a long time span where they've done one thing and not quit it, it's going to be a good thing. However, if they've done multiple things, quit a lot of times, then you need to run the other way. Another thing, what is one thing you're super passionate about? It can be anything, no wrong answers. Again, this will tie into the top one here. You want to know that they can stay consistent at something. And then finally, a very, very important thing here. Please record and upload a 30-second selfie video explaining why you're so passionate about this thing and why you love it so much. Okay? Now, we use this primarily to get an idea of their English speaking skills and how charismatic they are on camera. This is literally your insight as to how they will perform when they're sending the Trojan horse permission messages. So it's very, very important. You don't necessarily have to listen to what they're saying. You just need to know, do they look charismatic and are you understanding what they're saying? They're the main 2 things you need. So here's a link to the Google form. Effectively, you want to make it look like this. So effectively, this is what the Google form should look like. Very simple. Just use this link, model it based off of this, and just copy exactly what we've done. This works, so you can go ahead and copy it. Okay, so step 4, interviewing. Okay, So ideally, you should wait for a day or two for all applicants to submit their forms. Remember, the more forms, the better. Aim for at least 20 to 40, and remember, a lot of them will be very bad applicants, especially if you're doing an inbound job post. Okay. So next, you need to decide who to interview. And here's what we're looking for. First things first, fluent, clear English, and this will be demonstrated by the video. Next, charisma, excitement, and good communication skills. Again, this will be in the video. Someone ideally over the age of 18. I've tested setters, and truthfully, if they're under the age of 18, they've normally got parents who are telling them to do stuff. They've normally got other commitments. They've got school, and it's just very hard for them to actually see success if they are under the age of 18. All of my setters who have been under 18 normally haven't performed that well, so highly recommend them at least being 18 years old. Next, clear examples of when they've been consistent and disciplined. Okay, so remember this, they need to be consistent in their personal life, and they will tell you everything about this. Okay, and then final thing, they need to obviously have put a lot of effort into the Google form. There needs to be a very good video, very good answers to every question, and very good answer to the consistency question. If they have hit all of these 5 check marks, then you'll move them through to the interview stage essentially. Next, you want to create a simple spreadsheet called applicants, okay? Just create a Google Doc spreadsheet and just add all of the applicants to the sheet, and then tick boxes for all of the 5 above. You should have at least 5 to 10 good applicants as a result of this. Next, create a 15-minute Calendly event, call it interview, and send this to the applicants that made it through the screening process, okay? The interview is very, very simple. It shouldn't take any longer than 5 to 10 minutes, because at this point, they have already pre-qualified. So all you're looking to do here is just suss them out and make sure they are going to be a good fit for your company culture, and you actually just genuinely like the person. So you should ask them the following: what their goals are in life. You want to expand on the times they've displayed consistency, make sure they haven't been lying, and just get some more confirmation there that it actually happened. What would make this the best opportunity for them, and what would make this the worst opportunity for them? It gives them the opportunity to think on their feet here, and actually give some solid answers, because this is going to directly correlate to how well they can objection handle and converse with people in the DMs. Okay, so these are very important questions. Okay, then once you've asked those 4 things, you want to then just zoom out and ask them for any questions they have about the role, and explain how it works at a very high level. You'll just explain to them that you're going to be effectively booking people in using Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You're going to be sending personalized videos, and they're going to get booked a certain amount per appointment. Okay, keep it very high level and let the training do the work here, essentially. So you want to interview all of the applicants using your spreadsheet, make notes, and also store the Zoom recordings. It's very important to store the Zoom recordings, because the next step will explain why. Okay, so once you've conducted at least 5 to 10 interviews, you can make a decision on who to hire. The best person should immediately stand out. It's ideally the one with the most charisma, consistency, and discipline. You can always hire 2 or 3. Remember, we're only paying per appointment, so there is literally no downside to hiring 2 or 3. The only downside is how well you can effectively manage them. So if you've never managed anyone in your life, just start with 1, 2 maximum. But if you have, once you've hired 1 or 2 and they've seen success and you know how to manage setters, you can hire like 2 or 3 at a time after that. And the next step, step 5, you need to wait and then hire. This is very important. Before making any hires, wait 7 days. Why? Not only does this give you an opportunity to really digest every applicant, but it gives the setter applicants a considerable amount of time to make sure this is the right thing for them. They could be in a high emotional state following the interview. You need to let this return to baseline so that you know this is the right thing for them. Essentially, if they're still interested after 7 days, then they are 100% going to be the perfect fit for you. Remember, we want to hire setters who will stay with us for the long run. The best way to achieve this is by only onboarding people who have truly had time to analyze whether or not this is actually the right thing for them. Time will show this. Once you've made a decision, advise the unsuccessful applicants you won't be hiring them at this time, and advise the successful applicants that you want to hire them, and that they're welcome to take some time to confirm it's the right thing for them. However, it's been 7 days at this point, you should be able to get them onboarded straight away. Once you have a verbal confirmation they're happy to come on board, we need to get them to sign a basic contractor agreement. And this is a template that you can use here. Now, I'm not going to run through this. It's effectively like a contract you can use with your setters. It's like an NDA essentially, and allows them to not work with other competitors, not share the systems, all of the above. Okay, so essentially just copy this, edit it to fit your agency, business, coaching or consulting setup, and effectively give this, sign it off, use DocuSign, and get this done. Okay, very simple. After all this is done, You found the setters, they've signed the agreement. You next need to onboard them. And you'll onboard them using the SOPs that we created earlier in this video. So your first things first, you want to add the setter to your communication platform. We recommend Slack. Slack is king. If you're not using Slack, what are you doing, essentially? And you want to make a Slack channel for Setter to communicate with them as a team. Just create a Slack channel called Setter Team and create a Slack channel called Setter Items. One will be used to just converse about general things, and one will be used as an agenda where they can write items to be discussed on the weekly team meetings. So make a Slack channel for discovery calls. If you don't already have this, you effectively want to make one called Discovery Calls, which will log all of the demo calls that come into your business. It allows the setters to keep on track of all of the appointments they're booking, essentially. And then you want to create a Zap that link Calendly to the Slack channel, so that every time a booking comes into Calendly, it automatically gets forwarded to that Slack channel. Okay. Next, arrange a call with them to answer any questions once they've watched the training videos and explore the SOPs. So essentially, you'll give them the SOPs that you created earlier in this video, let them go through it, then set up an onboarding call, essentially, where you'll just sign off any questions and get them started and warmed up. Ask for their bank transfer details so you can make payments easily. We do payouts once a month on the 2nd, verifying them on the 30th, 31st, and 1st. Essentially, you'll ask for their tracking sheets at the end of the month. You'll verify all the appointments were actually real, they were a good fit for your business, and they actually, were qualified leads, and then you'll pay them every month on the 2nd. It's up to you. We do the 2nd, but you can, effectively play with this as much as you want. And finally, you want to create a Calendly event identical to the one that you currently have for appointment booking. Okay. For context, go back and watch one of the first videos in Acquisition Genesis, Calendly configuration, and it will explain this. The only difference here is you want to add their initials to the title of the event so you can track which appointments came from them. So essentially, you'll have one event called Discovery Call, and then for every setter you'll book, you'll have, for example, Discovery Call TG, Discovery Call WS, this is me, and Discovery Call EW, to pretty much log which setters are booking which appointments. So that is pretty much, how you hire setters. It should be very straightforward with the SOPs in this resource. You will have no issue doing it. And finally, managing setters. Now, for full transparency, I have probably got 8 specific videos ready to go on how to manage setters here. And what I'm aiming to do is actually create a full setter team module that will show you how to manage setters in so much detail and how to scale a team. Because obviously, once you've got 5 or 6 setters, it's not going to make sense for you to manage them yourself. You are going to want to hire a setter manager. So I've got a module coming probably early next year on how to actually manage and scale the team and effectively show you what I did to book 1,000 appointments a month with my setting team of 11 setters. But this here is going to suffice for the time being. You won't need to go through that module right now if you're just hiring your first few setters. But when you're looking to scale the team, go ahead and watch that video. If you're watching it in 2024, it's not out yet, but if you're watching it in 2025, it will be released. So performance management. 99% of managing setters is done in the hiring. So provided you follow the SOPs above for finding and hiring setters, the management will be the easy part. The number one rule for tracking setters' performance is to monitor their metrics daily. The metrics will tell you everything about how well that setter and your system is performing. As a rule of thumb, you should only concern yourself with the inputs, that's the volume they're doing. Never go straight to the outputs, the bookings. The inputs will show you how well they're managing the system, and the outputs will show you how well their inputs are. If their inputs are good, but the outputs are bad, it's the system that needs iterating. So every single day, you should check their metrics every single morning. And when checking their metrics, you should be looking for these 3 things. In fact, this is 4 things. These 4 things. First things first, entry videos sent or people initiated, and it needs to be at least 20 per account per day. Every single platform will be different, but as a rule of thumb, I put 20 here as an absolute minimum. Some are platforms you can go higher than this. Follow-ups. All follow-ups need to be done on time. If you go to their follow-ups, you'll notice it's taking sometimes 3 or 4 days to do a follow-up. That needs to be addressed very quickly. Lead sourcing. They need to be sending at least 30 to 40 connection / friend requests per account per day. Okay, this will change depending on platform, but at an absolute minimum, they need to be sending 30 to 40 unless you are automating it for them. And finally, replies. You need to have access to their accounts and you need to be checking how quickly they're replying to prospects and making sure they're following the process. Check these things every single day. Okay, these are the inputs. If they're doing all of these, then the system will work. If they're doing all of these and they're not booking appointments, the system needs iterating, and that's on you. So if any of these are out of KPI or low, they need to be immediately warned. Remember, inputs equal success. You need to monitor these 4 things like a hawk. These are the only things you concern yourself, the inputs that they're doing, because you have a winning system. It's just, can they actually input the data every single day consistently? Okay, and if they're doing this, it will work. Now, if the above inputs that we've mentioned here are very good, and they're doing these every single day, but they're not booking appointments, this is your fault. You need to fix what is going wrong with the system and the training you've given them, iterate it, find out exactly where the bottlenecks lie. Go back and watch the metric and prospect tracking video if you are having an issue here, because you need to understand exactly what moving parts could be iterated, and it will probably be a sign that the system needs iterating. Finally, quick note. As a rule of thumb, setters do need around 4 to 6 weeks to hit their stride. And by hit their stride, I mean start booking consistent appointments. In this time, still keep a watchful eye on the metrics, but don't come down too hard on them. If it isn't working, control their input as much as you can, and they will be all good after 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, so that's performance management. Next, weekly meetings. Okay, so you should have at least 2 face-to-face meetings with your setters per week. This just helps build a good company culture and makes them feel as if they're part of something. Keep them short. 10 to 15 minutes is more than enough. You don't need to spend any more time than that, and if you are, you're wasting time. You need to structure your weekly meetings like this. First things first, you need 1 weekly meeting with all the setters, just a team meeting with every single setter you've got on board. Next, you need 1 one-to-one with each individual setter, and that's all you need for weekly team meetings. Finally, you need a team items channel. I mentioned this above. Essentially, it's a Slack channel to discuss the agenda that you will talk about on the setter team meetings. Just make 1 channel, like I mentioned earlier, called setter team, and that'll be like a general group chat for people to talk to each other, and then a setter team items where if they have anything that they want to discuss on a team meeting in more detail, they'll put it into the items channel, and you will use that as an agenda to work through the team meetings, essentially. Obviously, if it's very important, get them to put it into the setter team chat, but if it's anything that can be weighted, you can wait until the team meeting and needs to be spoken about in a little bit more context and more detail, put it on team items and discuss it there. And finally, removing setters. Obviously, we don't want to do this, but we do need to give specific parameters if setters aren't performing. So as a rule of thumb, you should give a setter 3 to 4 warnings before you remove them, okay? This is because the risk associated with the setter not following the inputs or not following the system isn't massive, and you can give them some opportunities to fix it. If they're a sales rep, obviously you have to reprimand them a lot quicker, but with setters, like, you can be a little bit more lenient. Just make sure you are staying on top of them. If they do make a mistake, you tell them, and then give them no more than 4 warnings. After that, it's a sign that they are being inconsistent. You should get rid of them, okay? Any more than 4 warnings, and you should immediately remove them from the team. Remember, setters are replaceable. Do not allow emotions to overtake your decision making. This is one of the biggest mistakes I made with my setter team. I would get to know these guys and I would make friends with them, and then when they started messing up, I would give them so many chances because I just didn't, my emotions got in the way and I didn't want to get rid of them. If I could go back, I would be getting rid of setters a lot quicker, and I would have a much higher minimum standard. So I want you to learn from my mistakes here. Do not allow emotions to overtake your decision making. If they are getting warnings left, right, and center about the input volumes and they're not following the process, just get rid of them. Setters grow on trees. There is an abundance of them. So setters should be removed if a clear lack of consistency is displayed, or if multiple days or instances of poor inputs are uncovered. Keep this very, very straightforward, okay? If they lack consistency in 1 time, give them a warning. 2nd time, warning. 3rd time, warning. 4th time, gone. Same for poor inputs. If you notice they're doing less entry videos, they're not doing follow-ups on time, they get 4 warnings in total, then they're gone, okay? Setters should also be removed if systems are not followed correctly, okay? So for example, if they ignore requests from you, or if they blatantly alter the system in any way, they should be immediately removed, because you've got a winning system. If they're changing it, it's not going to work, okay? Obviously, you do want setters to iterate on it, provided they explain to you why they're doing it in advance. If they just go off and do it themselves, then it's not good. Remember, what happens in the micro will almost always happen in the macro. Another note here, never remove setters if performance is low. 99% of the time, this is due to consistency or account health. If you can identify none of these are the issues, you need to take responsibility and fix whatever is going wrong here. And then for offboarding, make it very simple. Make sure they are offboarded from all company backend systems. Remove them from Slack. Remove them from anything you've put them onto on the back end. Next, remove them from all your accounts. This is including school, okay? And change all your passwords. If they're on your school account, change your password and remove them. If they're on your Facebook account and your Instagram accounts, remove them and change your passwords immediately. And finally, remove them from all your back-end training. Just remove them from the SOPs, all the tracking sheets, everything. You don't want them to go off and share your system or keep using it. So guys, that has been Hiring Setters. I cannot wait for you to go off and actually see results with this system. I'm so excited to see the wins in the community. When you do get wins with Setters, pop them into the community. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you in the next one.